I don't know how you guys do it, but since I became a mom, I have zero mental energy to do anything. I feel like every single day, all I do is plan how to escape. But I understand that there's no way out. And I don't hate being a mother, I don't hate being a parent. It's just that being a mother has been the most humbling task I have ever done all my life. It is beautifully tedious, exhausting, and tiring. I am always tired, no matter how much rest I think I have gotten. Before the end of the day, I am extremely exhausted. And it's like all of my emotions are at its peak and I'm waiting to burst out. I honestly celebrate every mom, and for any time I ever disrespected or made any mom feel less of herself, which I don't think I've ever done, but if I have ever done that, I am truly sorry. Motherhood is crazy. So hi guys, the love of my life is sleeping and I'm going to manage to give you guys my birth story. Hopefully I'm able to finish this video before she wakes up. So I know I'm yet to do the third trimester pregnancy symptoms I experienced, and that will come after this video. But I want to share my supernatural birth story today. Why supernatural? Because yes, I prayed it and I manifested it. Now it's not one of those, oh, I prayed and manifested it kind of story. But I remember in my first trimester of pregnancy, I started to read the book Supernatural Childbirth. Now I don't even remember the author. Give it to my postpartum brain, but I'm going to write it down. My friend shared the supernatural childbirth for me while we were still trying to conceive, and I started to read it. Well, I gave up because well, the conception had not happened, and I had other things occupying my mind then. But in my late first trimester, I decided to open the book and I started to read it. Trust me, I didn't finish it in my late first trimester. I finished it in my second trimester because it was difficult for me to study, especially because of the migraine I experienced in my first trimester. But when I did read the book, I read how she trusted God for supernatural childbirth after her first birth, which her baby was overweight and she did see a lot, so she eventually trusted God for a supernatural childbirth. She believed children are a gift from the Lord and it should be a painless experience. And ever since, all of her births after her first was swift, it was painless, and she trusted God. Now, she didn't just do it alone, she did it alongside her husband. So I decided to read this book, tell my husband about it. He didn't read it with me, but I did read it and I did tell him the plan. If this person can experience this, I do believe in God and I am a faith-based Christian. So I'm going to have faith to have the supernatural childbirth and it's going to be my reality. First, I trusted God to give birth at 38 weeks. Now, I wanted 37 weeks, but I didn't want my baby to be preterm. And I know 38 weeks means my baby was term, and every other day after 38 weeks will make it full term when it's 40 weeks. So I wanted my baby to at least be term. I wanted some flesh so I can easily handle her. So I prayed to have my child at 38 weeks, which did not happen because I had my baby at 39 weeks, 5 days exactly. And then I didn't start labor the usual way. First of all, I didn't even know what I was expecting. The hospital will tell you, oh, your water might break, or you might see the bloody show, which is things or blood, tinge of blood in your pants. I did not even experience any of those. I know by the time I got to 36 weeks, I started to do all of these cervix smoothing recipes and tips people were sharing on Instagram. I took the raspberry tea to soften my cervix. I took dates to soften my cervix. I even started the date at 35 weeks. At 37 weeks, I started to take pineapple, hoping it will induce early labor for me. And then, Amina, you are making too much noise. Hankali, this is the only time I have to make video, please. So I took the date to help soften my cervix, and I started the date at 35 weeks. Then I took pineapple at 37 weeks. I started to take pineapple, hoping it will induce labor, and it didn't happen. And if you've been pregnant before, you know that the late third trimester is the most exhausting period of pregnancy. At that point, you can't just wait to have the baby out of you. You're exhausted, you're frustrated, and it's just beautifully well. So you guys, I was trying my best from 38 weeks to bring baby out. In fact, from 37 weeks plus, I wanted her out. I wanted her out. I was exhausted. I had this intense pelvic pain. My ligaments were hurting. My back was really hurting. I could not walk without support. If I sit in a place for a long time, I had to be held up. If I lay down in the morning, I had to be picked up, supported out of bed. If I sit on the toilet seat, I needed help for almost everything that included sitting or standing, which I do all the time. My back was terribly aching. So I think I started to experience labor at 36 weeks. I started to have intense contractions at night. And I thought, oh, this is it, the baby will come out. And I was even worried, but she never showed up. Then it stopped at 37 weeks. Then towards the end of 37 weeks, it started again. Very intense, painful contraction, but only at night. And then it would just stop. And at that period, my husband was away, and I really prayed that he was going to be around while I gave birth. But well, I just really prayed he was going to be around. And it did not come, it didn't happen. I had my sister-in-law with me, and I remember throughout that night of pain, I would call her, and then she would come around, and she was so helpful. She helped to massage me, hold me up, and all of that. At 39 weeks, 5 days, my friend called, and then she was like, tomorrow is going to be Easter, and I don't think they will attend to us at our antenatal. Considering that Easter is the next day, I think we should go for our antenatal on a Thursday and not wait till Friday, because my antenatals are usually Fridays, every Friday. Considering a third trimester, you have to come to the hospital every once a week, right? So she was like, let's go on a Thursday, or let's not wait till Friday so that we don't have to spend so much time in the hospital and you don't show up early. So it was already around 10 a.m. and if you know Nigerian system, if you want to go for antenatal, you have to go very early. I was like, okay, I'm just going to stand up. It was already 10, let's go. We got there, my husband was luckily around. We got there, and then the queue was held. Apparently, everybody there thought tomorrow is Easter, so let's all come on Thursday. So we were all packed up, trying to avoid the Easter rush and all of that. We were all packed up in the hospital. It took so long to see the doctor. And then I told my husband, you know what, the queue at this general dining is too long. I will just pay for consultants, and hopefully we can beat the queue and leave the hospital, because I was already tired and my back was already hurting. So we paid to see the consultant, which was also very filled up, and we ended up staying long at the queue. And then when it was finally my turn to see the consultant, I went inside, I explained how I was feeling, I was okay. I just came for my routine checkup. And he was like, you know what, let's check you, let's have you check. Do you feel anything? I said, no, except for the back pain, which I explained to him their seat was the cause of it. And I advised him to provide more comfortable seats. Yeah, hospital needed to provide comfortable seats for pregnant women, because that seat will make you give birth. So we laughed about it, and then he went ahead to do a cervical check for me, and then he was like, he checked for dilation, and then he was like, you're already 3 centimeters dilated, you are in labor. That's the latent phase of labor. you're not feeling anything. And I told him I wasn't. So he was like, okay, you're not going to go home because you're already 2 centimeters dilated. I'm going to do a membrane sweep to make it faster. Just go tell your husband to go pick up your things, or you can go pick up your things and come back. But I'll advise you stay in your hospital because it looks like it's going to be very fast. That was already about 4 p.m. My husband had left the hospital to take a walk outside. Was it a walk? No, he had left to take a walk, then he ended up going to a restaurant to eat. So the idea was I was going to finish seeing the doctor and then I'll come and meet him in the restaurant. And by the time I called him, I was like, how far? They said we should go and pick hospital back. This man already thought I was the one intense labor. This guy ran, left his food, everything was so confused. By the time he came around, I saw me walking. I was like, I just wanted to tell you what the doctor said. Nothing, calm down, we still have to go get the box. So we went, we ate, then he went home to pick the box, and then I stayed in the hospital waiting for my room. When I was admitted, everything just started to go fast. Let me check my baby, hold up. The baby we're talking about is wide and fully awake. How do you feel being spoken about very early in the morning? How? Good morning. Okay, I don't think she's in the mood. When he came back, I was already 5 centimeters dilated. I hated the whole idea of checking for dilation. I don't know if it's just me because my other friend said it was okay, but it was the most painful thing for me. Now, maybe it was the most painful thing because I was not in any pain. Remember, I trusted God for a supernatural childbirth. So I honestly wasn't feeling any pain. And how I knew that I was having what I prayed for was because we were 3 in the labor room, in separate rooms, but we could all hear each other. We knew when the doctors were seeing any of us. And the lady by my left now, very beautiful Fulani lady. We were dilating at the same time. We gave birth just few hours interval. So we were dilating at the same time. By the time she was 5 centimeters, she was groaning in pain. You could see she was trying to hold it. You could tell she was trying her best, but she was in pain. She was groaning. She kept, she was holding it. She was trying her best not to shout. Whoever was with her kept trying to tell her it's going to be fine, she's doing so well. But I was there gisting. Now, I wasn't just gisting. I was eating chips and drinking tea. I was talking to my sister-in-law and my husband. We were laughing. I don't know how those people didn't get videos. I kept trying to tell them, you know what, get a video. But everything looked fine until everything looked fine. The only time I had experienced pain was each time they had to check for dilation. By the time I got to 5 centimeters, I had a lot of tea, which I think I should have slowed down on because I started to urinate a lot. And after I arrived, the doctors were like, I'm not going to be allowed to go urinate anymore. So they had to put in the catheter to bring out the urine each time I wanted to urinate. And they didn't leave it in. So each time I felt press, they had to insert the catheter, and it was painful. I don't know if it's supposed to be that painful, but everything about cervical check, inserting that catheter was extremely painful. And then I was peeing a lot, like 20 minutes interval. It was like I could not hold my pee anymore. It became so bad. And then me and my sister-in-law decided to do this thing where I'll tell her, you're not going to call the doctor, I don't want that catheter. So we went to the hospital with some disposable cups. So I'll tell her, just get me one disposable cup and I'm going to pee inside and I'm going to trash it out and flush it. Yes, I'm sorry, it was dirty, but that was the only way out. Because I was peeing too frequently. Inserting that catheter was extremely painful. And I could not stand it. Each time they inserted it and I would pee lots of blood. I believe it was also because of the labor I was already in. That was why it was a bit bloody, but it was too painful, and that was why I had to take or find a way out. So by the time the lady by my left got to 8 centimeters, The doctors were already with her. She was now screaming. I was still very okay. That was the time I decided I wanted dinner. And then my husband got us fried yam and egg. If you guys told me it was going to be a mess with all of the things I had eaten, maybe I would have slowed down on eating. But what I'm trying to just explain is how supernatural the childbirth was. I was very okay. By the time the lady by my left was 8 centimeters, they checked me, I was 8 centimeters. Now, you remember I came in at 3 centimeters, so they had administered oxytocin to increase of hasten the labor. So by the time I was 8 centimeters, the doctor kept asking if I was not in pain, and I said no. He'll come, he'll check contraction, take his count. I was listening to music, gospel music, all through. I listened to almost all of Sunisola. I listened to almost all of Dunsin. I would pray, I would speak in tongues. And my doctor was such an amazing person. Each time he comes around to check for the contraction, instead of playing all of those sounds to get the baby to move or whatever, I believe he was trying to get the baby's response to the sound. He would just join me and then we would speak in tongues or he would sing along. So it was so sweet, it was so supportive. So he took the other lady's labor first, that's the lady at the left, and once she was done giving birth, I knew it was my turn because when he came around, he checked and he was like, oh, I'm 8 centimeters. And immediately he removed his hand, my water broke, and he was like, okay, this is happening fast. That was already by 3 a.m. So they called in the nurses and everybody was sent, and that was when I experienced what contraction was. I started to feel this squeeze. I can't explain it. This turn, this squeeze, it was like somebody was doing this to all of my intestinal organs. It was this very amazing squeeze. And then I had to look at it and I was like, is this the pain everybody feel when they're about to give birth from beginning? And he looked at me and said, I don't know what you did, but God has shown you mercy. This is not pain for you. I think that was when I now honestly started to sweat. And then he was like, okay, your baby, I can see your baby's head. Your baby is coming. I'm ready. Once you feel the need to push, push. And then I was like, no, what I feel like doing is poop. I need to go and poop. And he was like, no, that is not poop. That is the baby coming. If you push and you pull together, it's okay. If you feel like pulling, just pull, it's okay. So he was like, you know what? You're going to push now once you go. And all of those YouTube exercises on breathing, on how to push, I watched was super helpful. And I'm even going to tag the lady I followed through. I felt like I went to the hospital. Yes, the medical knowledge is there, being a vet, but I felt like I went to the hospital knowing exactly what I was in for, what I was going to do, because I took out time to watch a lot of videos on how to breathe, how to push, when to stop. So when he said push, I did my first push, and no, that was the most smelly thing ever. It was disgusting. You guys, I pooped in public. I was so embarrassed. I started apologizing. I was telling the doctor, "I'm so sorry." He was like, "Are you serious?" It's okay, it's fine. They cleaned it all. Now I'm going to shout out to every gynae and obstetrician out there. You guys' work is dirty. You guys, they cleaned it all. And then he was like, you're going to push again. And then I pushed. I took this deep breath. And then, okay. By the time I did the first pull and I pooped, and then I had to take a second push. And he was like, okay, you're going to push. And then he was like, I'm going to have to tear you because you're a bit tight and it looks like your baby is going to be big and I do not want how to tear you. So he said, when I feel the contractions coming in, I should give it my best push. I think that was where he distracted me because immediately I started feeling the contraction and the pain was coming in. The doctor just took the scissors and gave me a cut. So I did not feel the cut. If you're asking if I felt the cut, I didn't feel the pain of the cut. I think I was distracted by the contractions I was having. So he did the cut. And by the third push, my baby's head was out. And he was like, okay, your baby's head is out. We just need her other body to come out, and you're good. So I pushed again, and she was completely out. My baby was crying. Baby was looking for food. She was just looking for food. And then I pushed out the placenta, and then where I did not pray for, because in my supernatural belief and faith and prayers, I wanted a painless childbirth with no episiotomy. But in this case, I had an episiotomy, and I am still grateful because I honestly did not experience what other people were experiencing. But you see that episiotomy I had, oh my God, when they were sewing it, I felt every single stitch the doctor took. I felt every single stitch. I did not shout. Even he was not like, you did not cry for this labor. You did not shout during this labor. But this episiotomy must be very painful. I had to ask him, sir, how many stitches are you going to take? This thing is painful. And we were counting along. I felt every niggling feeling ever. It was passing, coming. I could tell when he was passing the needle. I could tell when he was pulling it. I felt every single pain there was to feel, you guys. I felt it. And I hate it. And I still remember the pain. So that episiotomy was like the highlight for me, because that was the only time I experienced real pain. And now I know how to re-strategize my prayers for next time. Oh my God. So I gave birth to my baby at 3.75 kg, which is considered a big baby. My doctor literally said, if your baby was up to 4 kilograms, we would have had to do you a cesarean section, because that baby will be too big for you to push out. So my baby came out at 3.75. They took her away. My husband went with them. They cleaned her up. They checked her weight, and then they gave me back my baby. And it was the most beautiful feeling ever. When I held her, tears were just dropping. Tears was dropping. I was crying. I cried. I cried. Now, when I got to that 8 to 10 centimeter where I told you guys I started to feel excruciating pain, I remember holding on to my sister-in-law. I held on to her like my life depended on it. When the doctor said, okay, everybody needs to go outside, I said, no, she's not going anywhere. I need somebody to grab. I am so thankful that girl did not wear an Ankara clothes, because if she did, I would have literally torn it. My grip was so strong. Now, I had a supernatural childbirth. From the 3 centimeter, or from being in labor, because I went for antenatal and I was already in labor, from being in labor down to giving birth. I honestly didn't know what it. Okay, sorry. From being in labor down to 10 centimeter where I was ready to push my baby, I honestly did not know what that pain felt like. But you see that 10, when I got to that 10, the 15 minutes I used to push my baby and everything, I felt it. I felt it. But the moment I gave birth, I was good. I was okay. Will I do this thing again? Yes. After the whole first month, that's another video for another day. I kept saying, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm so, it's this, it's that, it's that. You guys, baby fever started catching me. And I used to jump and pass. Like, who did these pits for me go fall inside kind of jump and pass. But I think I'm actually looking forward to giving birth. Even though people say, oh, you're going to forget it. Well, I think I have started to forget it, and now all I feel in my heart is this burst of emotions, this love, this joy that makes me wonder how big, how glorious, how beautiful the love of God is. If I as a human can love my child this much, I wonder how much God loves us. And I look forward to sharing my postpartum journey and the third trimester signs with you guys. It has honestly been a beautiful journey, and thank you for following me through this journey. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and always commenting on my videos. Just love you guys so much.